Well, thank you for staying with us. And remember, it's the second Wednesday of the month. And of course, you know how we do it here, Kakaki Cancer Awareness, in collaboration with Cormode Cancer Foundation, whose CEO, Dr. Denise Ejoh, is always the one taking us through this and the issues dealing with the end of life care for cancer patients. And that's what we would be looking at in focus this morning. Good morning, Dr. Ejoh.
Good morning. Good morning, people.
Yeah.
Okay. How are you today?
Good.
You look beautiful, by the way.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm feeling happy. Thank you very much.
All right, take it away.
All right. Good morning, viewers, and welcome to another edition of Kakaki Cancer Awareness with Cormode Cancer, in partnership with Cormode Cancer Foundation. Sorry. This is one of those days. So I am Dr. Denise Ejoh, the CEO of the foundation. Together we fight, together we win. So today we're going to be having a very serious and I think a conversation we need to have. Today we'll be talking about something many families fear and many avoid discussing, and it's the word palliative and end-of-life care. So for many Nigerians, hearing the words palliative care often feels like hearing that all hope is gone. It is often misunderstood as giving up. But the truth is very different. Palliative care is about improving quality of life. It's about managing the pain, reducing suffering, offering emotional support, and helping patients and their families live with dignity through every stage of the illness. As someone, that's me, living with metastatic cancer, I understand while cure is always hoped, there are moments when care must become focused on comfort, dignity, and compassion. So, across Nigeria, many families walk this difficult road with little support, little information, and far too much silence. Today we are joined with our dear Dr. Nduku, a palliative care consultant at University of Port Harcourt Teaching Hospital, to help us understand why these conversations matter and why compassionate care should never stop. You are very welcome to the program, Doc. It's very nice to see you, and thank you for joining me this morning.
Thank you for inviting me. It is my pleasure.
Nice to have you here on this Creating Awareness Day. So let's carry this conversation forward now. And I want to start with may the soul of Alex Ekubo rest in peace. The cancer journey is not an easy one. And to his family, we're out there. Please hang in there. So let's go. Together we fight, together we win. Many Nigerians still believe palliative care means treatment has failed. Nah, I don't believe that. Does palliative care really mean that, Doc? And why is it important to introduce it early in a patient's cancer journey?
Thank you very much. The first thing I want to say is that if I'm given the opportunity, I will change the name from palliative care to holistic care. And I have my reason. Immediately people hear palliative care, they just say, oh, my case is hopeless. I don't actually know how they got that misinformation. And they now say, oh, it is time for me to die. Well, that's wrong. Palliative care is not about dying. Palliative care is actually about living, and living well till the end. So palliative care will affirm life, but we know that death is a necessary end. And so we don't also shy away from discussing about dying in palliative care. So what actually is palliative care? Palliative care is an arm of medicine that care for patients and their families that are passing through life-limiting illnesses. And what is life-limiting illnesses? They are actually illnesses that you are going to live with till you die. So there is actually, most times, no cure for these illnesses. And some of them are like cancer, sickle cell, dementia, Alzheimer's diseases. There are so many of them. But for this program, we're going to focus on cancer. And so we say that palliative care offers care to the patient and the family. The aim is to improve the quality of life. And the thing that is unique about palliative care that it does not concentrate only on the physical aspect of this illness. It looks at the spiritual, the social, the psychological dimension of this illness, which is very important. The physical aspect, if a man is made up of a body, a soul, and a spirit, and they affect each other. And so if you just look at only the physical aspect and take care of the disease, the chances of this patient surviving is very narrow. But when you take care of the whole patient, that is the spiritual burden, the social burden, the psychological burden, and the physical burden of this disease, then you are taking care of the whole patient. But also remember that this patient is living with a family, and he has a job and a community. So, and this family, job, community affect the illness, and the illness affect the job, the family, and the community. And so we put all of them together, and this is holistic care, and that's what we call the biopsychosocial model of care. And so when cure is not possible, I tell you, care becomes very imperative, very important. And if we care for this patient, they survive. For example, Mother Teresa, you saw people lying on the streets, they are left to die. And she thought, let me just bring them in and just care for them so that they die with dignity. But to her surprise that most of them survived and they lived well for a long time. And so when we provide proper care, compassionate care like you call it, holistic care, we notice that there is the chances for people that you think that will die now live long. So why? What is the reason? Why should we allow palliative care early, not at the end of life? It's because we confuse the end of life. Holistic care, hospice care is mostly end of life care. There is end of life care, but palliative care is much more than end of life care. Palliative care should start from the point of diagnosis. One, our patient present late most times in our country, and so if you now delay more, what will the palliative care offer the patient when you invite them? It is just to come and pray over them so that they can die. Is that what they will offer the patient? That's called extra unction in Catholic Church, but that's not what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to offer them the physical, reduce suffering, improve their quality of life. So inviting palliative care at the point of diagnosis is important. Then the second thing, it helps in communication. The way you communicate from the beginning of the disease help the patient and the family to pass through this, and it can prolong their life, because they need their will to fight this disease. They need to understand and take proper decisions. So the communication, and the doctors and nurses, the patient burden is very high, and they don't have that time to give to this patient, because the information is heavy. You just don't drop you have cancer on a patient and you expect that patient to have that understanding. So you need to give the patient time, give the patient space so that they can assimilate and understand, and the palliative care can help the patient at this time. And so communicating is important. So that's number one reason why. Then the second reason is because the burden of this disease is so heavy on the family, and so if we come in early, we can interact with the family and help them bear the burden of this disease.
So can I come to you on the family part, because I'm going to ask you a different question on family.
Okay.
I want to focus on the family differently. Thank you, because I think a lot of people really got that wrong and think that palliative care means dying. A lot of people don't know that I am on palliative care. So to those out there that think palliative care means dying, I don't think I look like I'm dying. But yes, I am in stage 4. Yes, there's, like the doctor has said, there is no cure. Yes, but so what? I'm still here. So let's go to the next one. So from your experience now, caring for patients and family support, what are some of the hardest realities that they face as cancer progresses? So what are their family? Because you were trying to because that's the key one.
The first reality that the hardest is that you will live with this disease till you die. They are always looking for eradication, for cure. So it's very difficult. That's the hardest reality, the first one for them to accept. Then the second is the financial burden. It's so heavy. It is so heavy. The third is the spiritual, the social, and the emotional effect of this disease on them. And this, especially the suffering is actually intense. So it's another reality, especially for the family and the patient, to face. is something that is very difficult for them. And so it's something that, wow, how do we do? The financial, I've talked about the financial effect, and I've talked about the fact that they're going to live with this illness till they die. It's normally very, very difficult for patients to cope. Then the fourth one, you see how it is to discuss end of life issues. Very difficult. In our culture, if you go to talk about death, you are bearing bad news, and they look at you, you are wishing me to die. But you are not, you are actually talking about how can I live well till the end. And there is also the dying well. Then the last thing is to actually decide what is important. At this time, it's another reality. What is important, before you can just decide, I want to go to America, I want to do this. But at this time in your life, you need to look at it and say, what are the things that are very important? And let me give you an example of what I'm saying. We had this patient with cancer, diagnosed with cancer, and I was involved from the beginning. You know what she told me? She said, Doc, I have an only child, my son, and he's in primary school. So you mean I'm going to die? I say, no, you're not going to die. So, you see, she's come to understand that this is where her focus. Every other thing is not important at this time. The focus is in this. And last week she stood before a group, because we do what we call support, cancer support. And you know what she said? She said, I am still alive. And I want to tell you, the thing you hear is very important from the beginning. But I'm alive and my son is in the university. They actually, at that time, they need to face the fact that they need to select what is important, what is very important to them. So the first thing, the reality that they need to face. And then the last is the caregiver, the family. They are looking at the effect of this illness on their family, and they need to face it. Sometimes it causes family dysfunction. Sometimes they need to borrow. Sometimes their children need to withdraw from school. The reality. And we shy away from most things that cancer have, the effect, the psychological effect. You see, if it is a breast cancer patient, you forget that the breast is not just the anatomy. There is a lot of things concerning the breast as it relates to the man and the woman. And we are not even bothered about that. We don't talk about that. There is a reality that they need to face. If it's a man, you are talking about maybe prostate cancer, and he has a young wife. You understand? So there is these realities they have to face, and they need to adjust to them. And so I tell you, there's so much that they need to put for this interview.
Thank you. Yeah, okay. So you brought two things which was very interesting that I just realized. Cultural silence was one thing that we always don't talk about, and it's our culture. And it's a shame that we don't want to talk about them. We need to start talking about them. But pain control is something that is very, very key. And I want you to talk about pain control because a lot of people don't realize that I take quite a lot of very strong painkillers, even morphine, and they just see this person that's always smiling. So pain control, emotional support, and access to proper care remain very major issues, right? But what's the biggest barrier? So give me the 3 top biggest barriers to quality palliative and end-of-life care. The 3 biggest barriers. I know you've talked about finance. Finance is always number 1. Okay. All right. I don't know if that's correct. Would I put finance as part of it? Or would you say no?
I think actually late presentation is number 1. Late presentation is number 1 to me, because if the patient presents early, you could offer palliative care and they can live longer. But when they present late and then they are referred to palliative care even later, you can't really offer anything. It is only maybe to the family that you can, and by that time it's even difficult. They are really very emotional. They're already, what we call anticipatory grief. They're already grieving for this patient. So you can't even penetrate at that time. So I think the first barrier in our own environment is late presentation. The second barrier is actually that we do not have enough trained palliative care specialists. We do not have enough, and we don't even have a place for them to be trained. So we don't have a structured training institution and train for palliative care specialists to be trained in Nigeria. So if you want to be trained, you go outside, and then where is the sponsorship? And I want to tell you, I don't even encourage being trained outside as much as possible. I'm not saying it shouldn't be done, but you know the danger. They go outside for training and they don't come back. But even
cultural is different.
Yes, if we are trained here, yes, we will be trained also in the context of our culture. Yeah. And we'll be able to offer culturally accepted palliative care, which is very, very important. So training. Now also, let me tell you that we don't even have the structure to offer the palliative care in our institutions and where we are. So now we are just like an attachment. So if we have the structure, the equipment that we need, I want to tell you that many people that are suffering from cancer, they have not reached the hospital. They are in their home suffering in pain, and they will die without dignity. And then the last, because you said 3, I'm giving you 4. The last is pain control. No, now when I talk about availability of essential drugs, I mean drugs that are affordable, accessible, and are prescribed. I know what I'm talking about, and are prescribed, because some of our healthcare workers still have this thing of addiction. Why are you talking about addiction for somebody that is at the end of life? And you don't want to prescribe morphine, and the person is suffering. You're watching the patient suffering in pain, but you can prescribe morphine, and you'll be surprised that this person can get up and do a number of things and attend to the things that are very important to that patient at that time. And so it must be accessible. It must be affordable. I want to also talk about affordability. Cancer treatment is very expensive. It's very toxic to the family, to their finance. And so the government need to make cancer treatment free. I actually want it free. But if not, at least let the NHIA allow for palliative care and cancer to be part of NHIA. Is important so that cost will be reduced for the patient.
Thank you. Yeah, but you've thrown one. So with this one, I'm going to make an appeal, and I'm making an appeal to the government based on what you just said now. That please, we're begging. Can there be an institute for palliative care, palliative medicine in Nigeria?
Yes.
If you're saying there is no institute, that is a big, big, big issue, because that is our care. Oh my goodness, that is our care. That is, I am in palliative care. I know I have all kinds of, I have 3 different doctors managing me, so it's not making sense, because your bones, your legs, you got so many other things that come up with this type of diseases. So please, I'm begging the government to please listen to us, hear us. I'm begging, please help us. This palliative care matter is really important, because the quality of our life really matters. I take morphine, but I'm not addicted to it, because I only take it when I need it. I don't take it because I want it. So I want you to give me one thing that you want, any cancer. So what would be one thing you want a family and want a caregiver to remember as we close this interview now and the journey with their loved one? One thing they should remember. They should remember that even after the patient dies, the care that they give to this patient will always be in their memory. So they should be patient. They should just be supportive. They should be with make the patient feel unique, and make the patient feel that they care for the patient. And also, they should take care of themselves, even as they care for the patient. They should not shy away from care for her. Thank you. I really appreciate. Together we fight, together we win. Having lived with cancer myself and supporting so many families through the Cormode Cancer Foundation, I have learned that healing does not always mean care. Sometimes healing means peace. Sometimes healing means dignity. Sometimes healing means knowing that even when medicine cannot remove the disease, care, comfort, and compassion must never end. No patient should suffer in silence. No family should carry this burden without support. And every life deserves dignity until the very end. So I want to say a very big thank you to you, Dr. Nduku, for sharing your knowledge and helping us better understand this important part of cancer care. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Palliative care does not mean giving up to those of you who are going through it. It's about choosing dignity. I choose, Denise Ejoh chooses dignity. It's about choosing comfort. I have chosen comfort. Please choose comfort. It's about choosing compassion. I have chosen compassion. To every family watching me today, if you are walking this difficult path, please know you are not alone. Reach out, ask questions, seek support. There is a big cancer patient community in Nigeria, and the Cormode Cancer Foundation can navigate you. Please don't carry this alone. Care does not end when cure is no longer possible, because care is there. My kids live with me on this thing, and you all know me. So I want to say thank you. To you, Doc, thank you for joining me. And I am Dr. Denise Ejoh. Thank you for watching the Cormode Cancer Awareness Week on AIT. Together we fight, together we win. You can find us on our social media handles, Cormode Cancer Foundation, and you can look me up on on all the social media handles, D Ejoh or Denise Ejoh. And this program will drop on our Cormode Cancer YouTube channel sometime in this week. Have a lovely, lovely week, and we look forward to seeing you again in 2 weeks' time. Thank you all. Doc, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for inviting me.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Denise Ejoh. And of course, we say thank you to Dr. Geraldine Nduku too for that time of the honors this morning concerning palliative
and bring you entertainment and lifestyle.